Hello, and welcome to another episode of Quick Business English. If you're joining me for the first time, I'm Andrea, your host, and today we are diving into a topic that often comes up in meetings: keeping things on track. Specifically, we are talking about managing time, staying focused, and using polite language to steer conversations back to the agenda when things start to wander. We've all been there. We've all been in a meeting where the conversation goes off track. Someone starts talking about a completely different topic, or even worse, a person talks for too long without getting to the point. It's easy for things to go off track, especially if the discussion is informal, but as a business professional, it's important to steer those conversations back to the agenda. And the best way to do this? By using polite and professional language. Let's look at some of the effective ways to manage time and keep everyone focused during meetings. First, what do you do when someone is speaking for too long or going off on unrelated topics? It can be uncomfortable to interrupt, of course, but it's important to step in, especially when time is limited. One way to politely steer the conversation back is by acknowledging what they have said and then guiding the discussion back to the main point. Here are a few phrases you can use. I see your point, but let's try to focus on a specific topic. We can revisit this later. That's an interesting idea, but we should circle back to our main topic for now. I appreciate your input, but we are running out of time. Let's wrap this up and move on. These phrases allow you to acknowledge the speaker while also ensuring the discussion stays on track. Now let's talk about sidetracking issues, when the discussion goes in a completely different direction. It might be tempting to dive into these new topics, but it's important to maintain focus on the meeting's original purpose. When you find yourself in this situation, you can gently redirect the group back to the original topic. Try these polite phrases. That's an important point, but let's save that for another time. I think we should stay focused on the main topic for the moment and address this issue later. That's a valid concern, but it's outside the scope of today's discussion. These responses help prevent the meeting from getting too off track without dismissing anyone's contribution. One of the most effective ways to keep meetings focused is to summarize discussions as you go. This not only helps keep everyone aligned, but it also allows participants to refocus on the key points. This ensures everyone stays focused on what has been discussed and what needs to be covered next. Plus, it gives participants a moment to clarify if something has been misunderstood. Here are a few helpful phrases for summarizing. To summarize, we have agreed that let's move forward with that. Just to recap, the key takeaway here is before we move on, let's confirm that we are all on the same page regarding. To summarize what we have discussed so far, the key point is this also helps create a natural flow to the meeting and keeps things moving forward smoothly. Time is valuable, so it's important to keep the meeting moving. If a discussion is dragging on too long, it's time to step in and gently steer things along. Use these phrases to politely move things forward. Let's try to keep this brief so we can cover everything today. I think we've discussed this point enough. Let's move on to the next item. We are running short on time, so let's wrap this up and continue the discussion offline. These phrases keep the meeting efficient and show respect for everyone's time. I would like to close this episode by reviewing the most important sentences we have dealt with today. Here are some key phrases to keep meetings on track. I see your point, but let's try to focus on a specific topic. That's an interesting idea, but we should circle back to our main topic for now. I appreciate your input, but we're running out of time. Let's wrap this up and move on. That's an important point, but let's save that for another time. I think we should stay focused on our main topic for the moment and address this issue later. Using these phrases will help you stay polite, professional, and in control during any business meeting. So, whether you are leading a meeting or participating, these sentences will ensure things stay focused and efficient. And that's all for today's episode. Remember to subscribe and leave a review if you found this episode helpful. And as always, feel free to reach out with any questions or suggestions for future episodes. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time on Quick Business English.